Welcome to Graceful Art Designs. Today I'm going to be painting this lovely flower from the yellow bell tree. The flowers are exactly, or almost I think, identical to the jacaranda flowers, except that they're this lovely yellow. And the leaves are different. The leaves are not fern-like like the jacaranda. They're very tiny, pointy, almost like rose leaves, but not pointy, and serrated edge. Very much serrated edge, thin stem, and the flowers come off the thin green stem which comes off the branch of the tree as well. And so the flowers don't seem to last very long. They drop off quite quickly, and the stamens inside are deep inside. You can't really see them, but if you look at the flower like that, it just gives this dark sort of mustard color in the inside. So that's what I'm going to paint. I'll post a photograph of these flowers before they died and when they were fresh, and that's what I'll use to continue painting. What is the color of summer? I think it's yellow. I think yellow is definitely reflective of all the joys of summer. So this is a painting of yellow bells. The tree is called the yellow bell tree. There is another name for it, a Latin name, but I'm not going to worry about that now. I've prepared the canvas by painting it with a mixture of white. I just dropped some white acrylic paint on. I sprayed the canvas with water. On top of the white, I added some leftover pinks and magenta and rose gold, and there was even a bit of black. And I just spread that all together with more water. And that's the background. So this is just going to be a branch of the yellow bell, and the leaves are kind of serrated like rose leaves, but much smaller and very slender and pointy, as you can see here. And they do seem to grow in sets of 7. I've counted them. On each stalk there's 7 leaves, 1 on either side and then 1 at the tip. So that's how I'm going to paint them. And this is not the right color. You can see the actual color is more of a muted sap green, but this is just to get some color down. And it's a long canvas, 60 by 30, and the bunches are mostly hanging down. So, and this central stalk, which comes off the main branch of the tree, is quite thin, as is this branch that the flowers are attached to. And they're mainly attached to the end of the stalk. You can see, let's see, there's one there. You can see. And the leaves around it. Well, I'll have to pull one out to show you. Yeah, this makes it a bit clearer. The flowers hang down like that, and they're very pretty. The stamens don't stick out, and there's the stalk with the flowers attached, but the leaves are above it on separate stalks, and they may be on the same. Well, there's a stalk coming off the stalk that the flowers are on, but all the leaves are on separate stalks around the stalk with the flowers on. So that's how I'm going to paint them, and I'm starting by, just like I said, doing the stalk, the central stalk, and the other stalks coming off it. And I'll put some on either side. And I need to leave space for I'll first put the stalks that the flowers will be coming off, because they need the most space. And then I'll put the leaves around them on their separate stalks. And the leaves are quite soft when they're young, but as they get older, they become more sort of tough and leathery feeling, and more sort of silvery green than they are at the moment when they're still young. But this tree, I think, is coming to its end, because most of the petals were hanging, were falling on the ground and hanging down. And there weren't that many flowers left on the tree altogether, whereas 2 weeks ago it was absolutely covered in blossoms. So this might change if I see it doesn't look the way I want it to. So that's just a brief sketch with the paintbrush. And now with some yellow ochre on my brush, I'm going to make the underpainting of where the flowers will be. So, like I said, they're at the end of a stalk. And at the end of the stalk, you've got sometimes, let's see, there's 3, sometimes 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's different numbers, but each actual flower, each blossom has got 5 little petals pointing off it, almost like a daffodil. So I'm going to just do this underpainting with the yellow ochre and then do the details afterwards. And it might be a little bigger than the actual flower because I want it to really take center stage in the painting. And I might paint some of it away, but that's basically how I'm going to do them. That's the basic blocking in of the petals. And now with some Naples yellow, I'm going to just try to start shaping them. So the body of the flower is kind of, it's roundish as it comes off this very thin yellow part which comes off a green stalk. So the green kind of grows into the yellow. So I'm going to do the Naples yellow here. And then I'm going to leave the brighter yellows for the end parts. And in fact, this is too wide. It's, it could be a whole lot narrower, which I'll narrow them out when I add the sky and the leaves. But this is still just the blocking in, which is far from perfect. And you don't have to worry about perfection at this stage. If you can get perfection, well, great, that's great, but that's not what I'm aiming for. Not right now, anyway. So just to show you one that is kind of closer to the, well, that is closer to the shape, although it's just a bit too wide. They're all far from the perfect shape at the moment. That's the second layer of blocking in of the flowers completed. And I really love the colour of this Naples yellow. It's kind of a buttery yellow colour when you put it on. And it just helps to have a darker colour underneath to show it up. And so now with the emerald green again, I'm going to continue blocking in the leaves. And sometimes too much paint comes off the brush and then it's too thick. But luckily I will put the sky in afterwards and remove all of that, although I would actually like to just wipe away some of that now. I don't mind if it smudges, but I want a thick blob. So now we're going to have stalks, and they might cover the flowers. So that's the tricky part, because I don't want to lose any of these flowers. I want them all to be showing up in their full glory, but now and again I may have to lose some of them. So I'll just start here by adding on the leaves. As I said, they seem to be in sets of 7s, and they are quite a serrated leaf, so you could do them like that, just to show the serrated edge. I'll do that when I add the final colour. And I don't think I'm going to fit in 7 here. I'll add another 2 down here. And actually, even the flowers have, they're attached with a long part of the petal is the yellow. It thins out quite long, and then it attaches to the stalk. So, and so then there's one leaf at the tip, kind of going straight, but well, I'll just have to lose part of the flower. So that's what I'll continue to do, and see where I can add them in, so that they're around the flowers but not completely covering them. A little bit tricky. Canvas isn't big enough. Let's see. Well, just every now and again I will have to lose part of a flower. Or flowers, as it appears. So there we have the blocked end flowers and the blocked end leaves, and I did all of that with the flat angle brush. And now with a filbert brush and some lemon yellow and some primary yellow on a filbert brush, I'm going to try to shape in the tips of the petals. So some of them you'll see from the side like that, some of them you'll see full on from the front, and leaving a bit of the dark in the center for where the stamens are deep inside. So I'll take one that's here, like hanging down from the side, and I'll just paint 3 of the petals like that. And so that's the other side that's kind of protruding. And then take this colour in a bit more. They do have these kind of striations in the petals, you can see there. So I need to try and create that effect. See how that one dries, and then I'll do some little tips as well on this side, joining the petals up. That. Where I can, I mean, they won't all be exactly the same, that's for sure. And the body is kind of elongated, and then it goes to this roundish part, and then into the thinnest part that's attached to the stalk. So again here, I'm going to just do a little frill like that, and leaving that for the inner part. And I see a blob there. So I'll show you one more, and then I'll do the rest off camera. I want one where I can show you the full-on beauty of the petals. And the filbert brush, you know, it really has the perfect shape for these kind of tips that you want to show. And then drag it in lightly, and then shape. And the final shaping of the bodies of the flowers will come at the end when I paint around the flowers in blue. So I think that'll dry nicely. But I intended to add a little bit of white on my brush. I think I need to do that. With a little bit of white added to my yellow mix, I'm now doing this blossom here. See if it makes any difference. Yes, that adds a nice touch. That part I'll paint away. A little bit rounded from the top there. And that makes a difference. Here I've got two very close together. I'm going to do this one up here because I've got more white on the brush now, and I just want to create a lovely sunny sunshine yellow bell and show the beauty. So something like this will catch your eye the moment you look at a tree or at a painting with these flowers. They are quite stunning. When I'm walking, I'm carefully looking at the ground to make sure I don't bump into something and trip. But even though my head was really focused on the ground, I still managed to notice when I walk past a tree like this, just the beauty of it. A slightly open cup on the edge there. A little higher. And so some of it's hidden by the leaf, but this one I'm going to bring in front of the leaf. And just join them up like that. And that gives that, illusion of those thin little striations through the center of the petals. So there you have the completed painting, just as far as the flowers are concerned. Almost, not quite, because although the centers are the yellow ochre, and it's a nice contrast, and although the stamens are quite deep inside, I do want to just give a little hint of that, the end of the stamen inside there. So I've got a little of this iridescent orange yellow on my brush, and with that I'm going to just add, I don't know if it will show, I don't know if that's showing at all. I'll only know when it's dry. I can't say I'm seeing much of it now. Probably not going to show it unless I mix it with a little of the yellow white. Let's see what that does. Go for one that's more drier. I can't say that it's going to show up. Maybe it's getting darker here now. Well, it's not dark, but it's just that the light is not coming in this window. At this time of the day, the sun is setting in the opposite direction behind this building. So, in the morning there's too much light. I can't actually paint early in the morning. It's dazzling, and obviously closing the blind is a bit pointless. That's showing up nicely now. There, but a few places. So now with a bit of the emerald green, I added some pale green, and I added some of the yellows and some of the white, just a mixture. and that gives a better, sort of closer to a sap green. And you can always make do with the colours that you have on your palette, instead of, always putting out new colours. I mean, this is a perfect green, I think. And so I'm just using the same brush that I originally painted them with, but just going from the side like that and then to the center. That gives the leaf shape more of a serrated edge. You can see that without actually painting serrations. Whereas before I just, used the brush like that to make the leaf, to make the base. Now I'm going to just use it sideways, drag it back in like that. And now, of course, some of the leaves are covered by the flowers. That's okay. And sometimes I do want to narrow the flower a bit. So then I'll continue like that, and then you can see it adds a lot of dimension to the leaf. Now you've got all these different colours showing through. The colour just goes to the end of the brush where you don't need it. I have to keep pushing it back. So I'll continue like that, and then I'll bring it back. And I'm also adding in the stalks where they are still this colour, which is not the colour I want them to be. And then I'll bring it back when I add in the surrounding colour of the sky. And you can be as particular or as not particular as you want. I mean, now the leaf is squashing over that flower, but that's okay. I mean, not all the petals are going to be perfect. You're not going to see every petal in a tree of flowers. But I do think flowering trees are just beautiful to look at, beautiful to have in your garden if you have one, and beautiful to paint. So I will be continuing on this path of painting flowering trees for a long time. Of course, I'll paint other things as well. But I think I've painted enough flowers, just, roses, and I've painted enough of mixed English country gardens. So now I'm going to stick to the flowering trees of the world. And these are trees that you find in Mediterranean countries. You find them in hot, arid countries and desert countries, Africa, but probably in the States as well. So all the climates there as well. Completed the leaves. Some of them I added a bit of the yellow gold, and just a mixture of all the the yellows and whatever was on the palette. But now I've got some ultramarine blue, some ultramarine violet, and some white. These are all no, those two are one brand. This is a different brand, so they should all work well together anyway. So I want it to be a slightly mauve-ish colour, but with a touch of the blue. Since mauve is the complement of yellow, it just goes nicely. So I mean, there's pink in the background, which I'm going to paint away. And I'm going to refine the flowers so that they're the exact shape that I want. For example, this one, the base is too wide, and I'm going to narrow it like that. And whereas I would have liked to not mix these colors, if I do that, then I'm going to have stripes of blue, ultramarine blue, and I don't really want that because it's going to be very dark. I do want to create this, this refinement of the shape of the flowers, and at the same time enhance the yellow, not detract from it. Like here, for example, the petal can be shaped a bit nicer. continue. I think it's going to be a nice colour. Of course, it might dry darker, so I have to bear that in mind. And it's not going to be easy to get the same colour throughout, so there are going to be variations in this colour. I'm making slow and steady progress, and I'm filling in all the pink and shaping the flowers to a shape that's more pleasing to me and closer to the real thing. And covering over some areas where there just kind of, I don't know, gaps or the way the leaves turned out, I didn't like either. So this is the final refinement. It should be, but of course once it's dry and I look at it, I might think that there's still something else that needs to be done. And I also don't know how the colours are going to change on this background of pink. Well, it was a multicoloured background, so it's leftover paints. So. And there can be some bits of pink peeping through, just as like when I use a red background. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to paint away every last drop of pink. It just adds a glow around the object, whether it's the leaf or the flower. And at the same time I am lifting up the canvas and painting underneath, painting the edges. So I think it's going to make a big difference. And I'm using this little flat angle brush. It's the best brush for getting into all these tight spaces without losing the shape that you don't want, or it's just great for, because you can use the point, you can use the side, you can use it flat. And this is how you paint something from your imagination. That's why there is no need to lose your marbles over looking for the perfect photograph. Or yes, I looked at some photos. I looked at my own photos that I took of the tree. Well, I didn't take photos of the tree. I just took photos of the bunches that I picked. I probably should take a photo of the tree in case I want to paint the tree. But if I do paint the tree, a whole tree, I would need a big canvas, just as with my jacaranda, where you don't really see much detail when you make them much smaller. And so it's difficult to show the real beauty of the flower when you make them smaller. And so you end up with maybe like a haze of yellow in the sky, which could look very nice. But then I wouldn't put too many leaves on a tree like that, on a painting like that, simply because then you would really lose the beauty of the flowers. And it's strange because in nature, although there are so many leaves, if you walk past it, it looks beautiful, even though a lot of bunches of flowers are hidden. Although when it was in full bloom, there were so many flowers. And now they're scattered all over the pavement. As many of these flowering trees do seem to be, they do lose a lot of their flowers all at once. This is the completed painting, and this is the best orientation for it, although you could do it sideways as well, simply because the branches are hanging down and the leaves are hanging down and the bunches of flowers are hanging down. They're kind of all clumped together. So, I mean, if you put it this way, it could look right, but this is the best way. I wouldn't put it that way, the other way. So, anyway, I think I'm very happy with it. I like the colours of the background. I wanted it sort of lighter in the top, lighter blue there, and getting darker as it came down underneath. And it's more or less like that, not entirely. There's bits of the pink still showing through, and a nice mixture of colours on the leaves, so that they're not all the same. And yeah, I mean, there's some things I could do to fix it up. I'll see how it looks in the morning. Painting dried nicely, but there are some changes I need to make, and as before, I will have to continue doing it on my lap because I can't see at that distance. And so I'm going to be using some of the same colours, but I'm going to also add a little bit of the very pale champagne gold, but I'm not going to use it right now. Right now I'm going to use just the lemon yellow and some white, and I'm going to just improve some of the shapes of the outer rim of the blossoms where they had gotten a bit untidy, and just want to make them a bit prettier. And also I need to make some of them smaller. I saw one that I really didn't like, but now I can't see it. Oh, there's one there that needs to be separated. And there may be others as I go along. I'll see them. Oh, there's one here. This one needs to be a lot smaller. So that's what I'll do. And I'll bring you back when I start adding on the gold, the champagne gold, because that I'm going to use just in the body of the flowers. I've tidied up the petals quite a bit and also added some more blue into the background. Some of the leaves were over the flower, some were behind, so I've messed up some of those. I'll have to go back and fix those. So now with the champagne gold, I'm just taking the champagne gold. I found mixing it with other colours just doesn't work, it disappears. So just on its own, I'm going to paint it over just lightly here and there over the body of the flowers, just to give a little glow underneath the petals. And like here the leaves are over there, so there's no point putting it on there. You won't see it in the leaves. I'm going to change that. I'm going to put the yellow over that, put the leaves around it. And this one, the petals gotten a bit thin. And there as well, I'm doing it. So you won't see it now, but once it's dry, it will give a nice little gloss, because it's very, very pale. It's, I just have it there in the teaspoon. You can barely see it other than as a glimmer. It's not pearlescent white. It's not pearlescent yellow. It's a different brand, so it's just called, I don't know, pale gold. It's not in English, so I don't know what the translation is. But to me it looks like champagne, the colour of bubbles. So I need to go back and add some more colour in some of them. I think I've improved it quite a lot, and now I need to improve it even more. So with the various greens and a bit of white on my brush, I'm just going to join up these green bits. And then at the end, if there's still anything that looks a bit off to me, I may go back with some more of the blue mixture and just tidy things up like that, round them off a bit. Like here there could be a leaf there, even though that's not part of the tree plan. But here there needs to be a little stalk going into the flower, and this one as well. They need to all be attached. So that's what I'll continue to do, and it shouldn't take too long. And then I will again walk away, leave it to dry, come back, because I always see things with a fresh eye that I don't see when I'm sitting in front of it for too long. And also once it's dry, I'm able to see things that I don't like, whereas when it's wet, I don't always notice them. So tell me what you think in the comments. Do you experience that? Is this just a peculiarity of my vision, which today is, I can't even tell you how bad it is today. It's so blurry. It's so, I have like clouds floating in front of my eyes. Oh, I forgot to do that flower. Well, you know what, I'm going to just make another leaf going over it. It's just going to be one of those flowers that is covered by leaves. There's too much green in it now to change. And I mean, the way they hang is really in bunches, and then the leaves are around them. So the leaves can be blowing. This is not a static, vase of flowers. This is leaves blowing and flowers blowing in the wind. So it's quite different. This is the completed painting, and I've added the champagne gold to various places. You can see it in this light. And I also just redid a number of the tips of the flowers to show the petals off a bit more. And I added back some more vibrant leaves and refined some of the flowers by painting around them with blue. So this is now the completed painting, and I'm very happy with it. I think it really is a burst of sunshine, a ray of sunshine that can light up any room. And I think it's just something joyful to look at. So thank you for watching. Please like and comment, and I will be painting more in this yellow, sunshine yellow series. Bye for now.